Greetings, welcome to thctrust.org. This is a brief video just to give you a visual idea of how you would use the no trespassing contract and the no trespassing sign. And the no trespassing contract, by the way, is a part of text files which have been created to save you time in perfecting commercial processes or in your own writings as relate to commercial or administrative remedy. So this is just a visual of how you would use the no trespassing contract. And what I want to do is, so yes, let me say this real quick. Obviously in this image right here, the contract isn't signed. Before, if you really seen this posted, ideally this would be signed. It would already be a matter of public record. You would have already recorded this contract. By the way, there's an attached fee schedule to this contract, and perhaps in this white space under the no trespassing sign, you might put additional information about where the contract is recorded in the public record. A lot of what I'm talking about here is impact, because you want any potential violator or trespasser, being a public officer or employee, municipal agency or whatever, you want them to really stop and pay attention and see what is before them, see what they're about to get involved in, so they can make a conscious decision, because a lot of them are just used to exercising against the civilly dead people who are unaware of themselves or their rights, so this is a lot of what this is here is impact. But now let's look closer at the actual no trespassing contract, so I can point out different details of the contract and how you would use it. And you'll see the part that's more than impact. You will actually see the administrative process and the enforcement that's built into it, especially when you take into consideration that all public sector employees are bonded, they have insurance policies, and just for the purpose of trespassing, right? So this is a very strong enforceable contract if you know how to use it. So let's go ahead and read and see what's inside of it. Also, typically when one posts the no trespassing sign and no trespassing contract, the contract will already be recorded in the public record, and it'll already be properly autographed and acknowledged. And you would have in this plastic sleeve here probably, I'd say 3 or 4 copies in each posted location. And remember, this is the no trespassing contract with a binding fee schedule that goes through a list of predetermined, pre-agreed to acknowledged fees should a trespass or unauthorized entry or access occur. Excuse me. You want to have 2 or 3 copies inside of this plastic sleeve, just in case a would-be violator or trespasser came to the border of your property and looked at this and read and then asked the question to himself and said, hey, I really don't know what right I have to trespass on this guy's property. Maybe a little, the impact is enough that a little light bulb comes on and he says, hey, I don't have a lawful warrant, and the only thing I really have is my supervisor told me to do so. And he may want to take a copy of this public record contract with him to his attorney or the legal department of his municipal agency. And as they do the research and educate themselves on what you've actually created, which is a security, I'm pretty sure that they're going to tell that individual officer or employee that, hey, leave this guy alone. That's a potential liability waiting to happen, and we do not want to trespass on his rights. And that's all we're really looking for. And let's go ahead and look at the actual contract to see how we would actually use it and how would we put it in place properly. Right, so here we have a no trespassing contract. It's one of 3 pages, and the last 2 pages are part of the fee schedule that's attached. So we're attempting to use this as a binding and enforceable agreement, because if it's not binding and enforceable, then we're kind of wasting our time when we're doing it. Um, and we want some impact there, because we don't really want to have to get into the enforceability part. We don't want to have to take this security and attach it to someone's uh, fidelity bond or insurance policy. That's not what we want to do. But we want to have all the tools and the elements there to protect ourselves should we have to go that far. So um, first, you want to print out this contract, fill it out, sign it, get it acknowledged, and then and designate a registered mail number for it, and then go record it in a public record. Once it gets recorded and you get it back, then I would put it in an envelope and send it to the property. The property where it's to be posted. I would send it to that property via registered mail, and then once it's delivered to that property, then I would take multiple copies of it and post it on the premises. So what that'll do is, anybody that comes across that contract, they see the "Do Not Trespass" sign, and then they come across the contract. If they want to look that up, they'll say yes. Boom, that contract even indicates that it's on the premises. And then plus, if you have already recorded it, they'll also see that it's a part of the public record. And something else you may also want to do, you may want to serve this to different officers, chief of police, sheriffs. You may want to serve this to different individuals in public office, just so that they were properly noticed. This note, let's just go ahead and read through it. This is a no trespassing contract with an attached fee schedule, and the internal identification name is TLM 2013-0613-DNT for the property commonly known as, and your address would go there. This notice is to all government sector officers and employees of the counties and municipalities within the whatever state and the United States of America, with all its agencies, which include but is not limited to police officers, correction officers, customs officers, state troopers, special agents, immigration officers, court bailiffs, probation officers, parole officers, sheriffs, judges, marshals. The list goes on. This is the owner's notice regarding the property known as, and then you would put the legal description of the property there. Whereas the owners, desiring to be secure in their housing and belongings, do demand that you do not trespass on the property and rights of the owners by committing any unauthorized acts of access or entry to the property, including searches or making unsolicited communications, including audits and assessments, as well as intimidating, threatening, or coercing those living in the property, and or hindering or obstructing the affairs of those living in the property in any capacity. Any of the aforementioned activity without the presentation of a warrant prepared as prescribed by the Constitution for the United States of America in Amendment 4 and 16, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized, shall be considered as trespassing and violates the terms of this contract. The failure to abide by these conditions, as well as any other statutory obligations regarding these rights, Title 18 U.S.C. subsection 241 through 242, Title 42 U.S.C. subsection 1983, 1985. Now, mind you, I put those in brackets because those are just other statutory obligations that they are required to follow. It's not a part of my contract. But so let me read that again. The failure to abide by these conditions, as well as any other statutory obligations regarding the rights, establishes a trespass and creates a liability arising out of this contract for compensation of loss, damage, and personal injury as predetermined in the attached fee schedule. So that's another reason why we want to put this in a public record and give anyone the proper time to challenge it or state some type of inability to be able to protect your constitutional right to be secure in your possessions. You know, you want to put that fee schedule in there so that once somebody trespasses, you don't really have to think about, okay, how much are you entitled to, or how much should you make your claim for, because you want everything predetermined, pre-adjudicated, so that you don't have to argue anything. Because it is my understanding that when you pursue commercial claims and everything is commerce the right way, then it's completely super judicial, and it's all a matter of knowing how to properly administer and enforce your claim, and it doesn't require the approval of some third party or some third party gatekeeper to tell you that they want to recognize or not recognize what you're doing. Um, so again, that's how you would use that. And then if, say, a trespass were to occur, then, right there you start with your affidavit of fact, right? And then your affidavit of commercial obligation. Once they default to the facts and they prove the facts are true, then your affidavit of commercial obligation. And the commercial amount of obligation comes directly off your ledgering in the fee schedule that's attached to this do not trespass contract. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this lecture.